Join me for real life questions with Mike.
What's up guys, it's Mike from Job Ready English here to help you get hired. So this is part 2 of how to find a graduate job. I did part 1 which was all about application planning. You can find the link down in the description below, and loads of people left comments, sent me messages, they're like, please do part 2. So I was like, okay. So part 2 is all about timing, and really it's about time management. Now if I was to pinpoint one thing which catches most graduates out, it is ultimately time management. The problem with time management is, even if you're sort of a type A performer and people tell you about time management and how to manage your time, you're just like, yeah, but how much time should I spend doing what, and what's most important, and how many hours should I allow per week? So what I really want to do today is just lay out some exact timings for you. So basically, there are 5 things that you're doing all at once when you're applying for a job. So 1 is vacancies, looking for vacancies. 2 is applications. 3 is online tests. 4 is a personal introduction. And 5 is an interview or interview prep. These are all the 5 things. Now the reason being is that you could send an application, get asked to do an online test, and then have to do an interview almost immediately. Particularly with most large companies, which are the ones that we concentrate on, having their process being automated, you could literally do all those 3 things in one day. So when you're preparing to do something, what catches a lot of people out with time management is that they will just kind of start off and they'll go, oh, I'm just looking for vacancies and doing applications. And then all of a sudden they submit an application if they've got an online test, and they go, oh shoot, I haven't practiced online tests at all. So then they spend a couple of days practicing for the online tests and also massively increasing their anxiety levels. And then they submit the online test and then they get invited for a video interview, and they're like, holy crap, I've got a video interview. And then they spend the next couple of days cramming for video interviews. Because the chances are pretty good, which is why you want to get your timings down, is that you're not going to apply for one job, do one online test, do one interview, and then do one assessment centre and get a job. I can say that I have had that happen once in 11 years, right? And that's based upon thousands of people that I've worked with. Chances are that's not going to happen. Realistically, you're going to have to do, I would say, anywhere from 20 to 60 applications. That's a realistic point of view. And that's me directly having worked with graduates over a period of a decade. So it's not me going, well, you know, I had Fred and who. No, most people have to do 20 to 60. Doesn't matter whether you're an Oxford student, doesn't matter whether you've got a 2-2, doesn't matter whether you've done a master's or a bachelor's. It pretty much all breaks down to this. And we'll dig into, you know, like CVs and other things as I go through the series. But time management is key. Why? Because if you know how to manage your time and you diarise things, they're going to get done. If it doesn't get measured, it doesn't get managed. That's something from Peter Drucker. So basically, how long do all of these things take, or how long should you allow for? So I would say if you're just looking for vacancies, that's like 1 to 2 hours, right? Sending out, say, 2 applications a week, that's 2 to 3 hours. Depends how quick you are. You could do this faster. I like to give timings which give you a large error of margin. Practicing 3 to 5 online tests per week, and I'll talk about this in another video, that's like 3 to 4 hours. Practicing for your interviews, practicing your personal introduction, that's like an hour. That's like an hour a week. Practicing for interviews, that's like 2 hours. So what you have is at best 6, 7, 8, 9. So you've got like 9 to 5, 9 to 12 hours a week, right? That's what you need to be making time for. And I highly recommend that you break this down into chunks. So if it was me, I would be breaking this down into probably like 4 chunks, right? Of like 2 to 3 hours. And ideally, you would have a chunk, a chunk, a chunk, a chunk, a chunk. This might be 2, right? So maybe you're looking at something like 4 to 5 chunks, right? Now, what you don't want to do is go, yeah, I will definitely do that. What you want to do is look at your academic calendar, figure out when you have spaces. So, are you a morning person? Are you an afternoon person? To be frankly honest, it doesn't really matter. Like, when have you got the time to be focused? And then start assigning these chunks. So you might turn around and say, cool, I will look for vacancies Monday PM. I will send them Tuesday AM. I will do online tests Wednesday PM. I'm going to practice my personal introduction, which I'll talk about when I get to the part about interviews, maybe every day when I wake up. And I'm going to do interviews on a Friday PM. Yeah? Which means it leaves you to the weekend to do whatever you like and ideally go out and have some fun and have a life. Now, this seems, a lot of times when I talk about time management, people's response is, oh, this is very rigid, this seems very constrained. I'm more of a free-flowing person, man. I like to do whatever I want to do. Enjoy being unemployed. That's all I can say to you. More often than not, what tends to happen is people will contact me and then maybe they have a session with me and I say, hey, if you want, they say, oh, can I work with you over a period of time? I say, fine. You can book a call down below, and then they will disappear, reappear 9 months later, absolutely going ballistic, going, oh my God, I haven't got a job, I've left it too late, I've missed all of the vacancies, now that's just left is complete crap. And that's because they didn't just manage their time, right? Because what happens is if you don't manage your time, and by managing it, it really doesn't have to be that complicated. It could be a paper diary, it could be your phone diary, right? And all it means is that when somebody asks you something, and they will, people ask me to do stuff all the time, and I check my diary and I'm like, oh no, sorry, I can't because I'm doing such and such a thing, right? Whereas if I just look at my diary, or I don't even have a diary, I'm just like, yeah, sure, why not? And then I end up doing all the things that everybody else wants to do. I end up not doing the one thing which is actually good for me and which is really important after I leave university. Because the thing that you've got to recognise with this is, the sooner you get a job, the sooner you can do whatever you like and just go nuts, right? And then while everyone's screwing, all your friends are the person who then recontacting like 9 months, 12 months ago, oh my God, I haven't got a job. You're like, I sorted out a job by like November, dude. Like, I'm sweet. I can just, I'm going to party and have fun and do my exams and blah, blah, blah and all that kind of stuff. But this is absolutely the number one reason why people fail. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Now, a little addition to this is actually what you do when you're applying yourself to the task at hand. And what I suggest that you do when you sit down, because I've had people turn around to me and say, oh, I spend like 15 hours a week looking for jobs. I spend 20 hours a week. I'm like, that's absurd. You're lying. You're not spending, what we really want to be doing is spending focused time, right? And this is a really simple rule of thumb for me, which is do one thing, right? So when you're doing something, for however long you can do it, I suggest start off with something small. I tend to do it now in 60-minute chunks or in 90-minute chunks, but bearing in mind I've had more practice. Some people are better than concentrating than others. Now, one thing that you do want to do is focus time means no phone, notifications, a quick chat. It basically means you do the one thing that you're doing or you do nothing, right? So you're sitting there, and I realise that this can be quite difficult, and I can get into the minutiae of it. For example, having app blockers or web blockers or something like that. But basically what you want to be doing is say, right, I'm practicing online tests. I'm just going to do this. When you want, you can go and have a break. I also suggest that when you're having a break, you're not doing it in the same place where you're working, because what happens is the mind begins to associate that environment with the thing that you enjoy the most, No one enjoys doing online tests, so you're going to associate with watching YouTube. So every time you sit there, you're going to go, I want to watch YouTube, and then you're going to do no online tests, right? But this is the way to make progress. You will be astonished how much work you can achieve when you have 60 minutes of just doing one thing or staring at a wall. Like, you get so bored that you get so much done. Every time you distract yourself, you basically lose 20 minutes. So whenever I try and do things, and I'll do 2 to 3 like reasonable sized things a day, there is no distractions. I'm just doing the thing. Right now, I'm just filming a series of videos, or I'm just writing part of a book, or whatever I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else, because I know that every time when I step away from that, I might as well just give up, right? Because that's the way that my mind works. And exactly the same for you. So that's a little tip within the time management.